All right, everybody. Well, hey, hope you're doing well. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to Mass Media Mastermind conference calls. Excited to have you guys here with us. It's been a busy week, very busy day. I've actually had 4 back-to-back podcast things, 2 that I was on as a guest, 2 that I hosted, and then we get to wrap up my night with my favorite topic of talking about the podcasting and taking advantage of the mass media stuff. We may have to is ready to rock and roll tonight. But anyway, hopefully you guys are doing well. Big shout out to podcastbusinessjournal.com. Free to join. You get a lot of great stuff on there, great nuggets of knowledge from a lot of great podcasters. We've got a regular episode on there. Really want you to check out this Friday. We have another episode going on. Episode. What do they call it? Story? Article. That's what I'm looking for. Article for you guys to get rock and roll and learn some good stuff from a guest of mine that I had on our Mass Media Podcast Summit 2 weeks ago. But really, guys, great stuff on here. I've learned a lot of nuggets from reading different articles and different experts and network with the other podcasters that provide stuff on a regular basis. So check it out. Great way to learn what's going on during the day. But anyway, guys, we do welcome you back if this is your first time here. Hey, Happy New Year. I still say Happy New Year until I get through February. Then we go further. But we've got a lot to be excited about. For those that aren't a part of our Mass Media Mastermind, we encourage you guys to join at $97 a month. Schedule phone calls, brainstorm. We're going to do some stuff a little bit different tonight than we have in the past with this stuff. But we've got some great stuff. We're actually looking at putting together a live, in-person Mass Media Mastermind Network event here in probably the next 90 days in Austin, Texas. We're doing hot seats coaching, Q&A, special discounts, guest appearances on my podcast and other things, help booking other people's places. And then you also get a ticket to the Mass Media Podcast Summit, which we just had 2 weeks ago, but we've got a new one coming up later in September. And really excited about a big announcement. We've had a major university here in Texas reach out to me, want to sponsor the next one that we do. So we're really stoked about that. That's kind of a big game changer for us in a lot of ways to do that as well. But anyway, let's dive into tonight's always, you can go to massmediasummit.live, check out our schedule there. If you need the replays, you can go there and purchase replays as well. Well, we're going to call an audible because our special guest who is supposed to be on this time is not on. So we're going to do something different. We're going to take advantage of the opportunity here, and let's do some hot seats. What do you say? We've got people on here. I think let's take the advantage of who we've got on here. Who would like to participate? Let's talk about your podcast, where it is, where it's going. I want to throw it out to Brett or David or Juliet for you guys on here. We've got time. We can spend 15 minutes with each one of you. So who would like to go first? Should we go first with ladies first? And Juliet, you want to come on live here? And let's do some hot seat stuff. Talk about your podcast, where you're going, what you're going for. What do you say? Does that sound good? I know you're like, what the hell? I wasn't expecting this. I'm Gabe. Brett is. Okay, good. Brett, we got you here. Comment. Anybody got questions, comments there? Yes. Okay. We're going to go ladies first, just because we got it. So we're going to do this. So I'm going to bring you over as panelists, and Brett, you'll have you go next, and we'll go from there. All right. So we're bringing on Juliet Clark here. Look at that. There you go. What's going on? I unmuted you, then you muted yourself back there. What's going on?
I just unplugged my microphone too. I just got off an interview, so you have the tinny me.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit. A little hot seat here, 15 minutes on there. And look at the clock here. So take a second to share kind of what your podcast is, and then kind of your business focus if it dives in. If your podcast aligns with what you do during the day or full time, and go from there.
So my podcast is Promote, Profit, Publish, and it's about the publishing, coaching, speaker, all small business space, entrepreneurial ventures, tools that can get you ahead, people that can help you. So it's kind of along those lines, what people are out there doing that's really cool.
Now, you did something really cool prior to the start of the Mass Media Podcast Summit with your survey that we sent out. Not survey, quiz is a better way. So I want to make sure, text quiz to 64600, as you can see there. Can you share a little bit about that and what you learned and what the results were? I know I'm just throwing this a hot pocket kind of thing.
That's okay. So I had people take it prior to the event so that I could give them a shout out on the show. The quizzes are based around the success principles of what I do, so you can assess where you're at in relationship to where you want to be. And then I could actually see them during the event. It was one of the first things I did when I got on to speak, and I could see them coming across live. The people were taking them. I could also see who was scheduling appointments. So it's all in real time.
Wow. And that's really effective, helping entrepreneurs like us and podcasters who have a message kind of filter through who's all our listeners and seeing maybe who's the best fit now, or maybe in a little while or in the future as far as clients, right? Kind of help to filter through everybody that we come across, right?
Yes. So what I like to say when I'm on stage is our quizzes allow you to determine who in your audience is your best client within 180 seconds.
Say that again, because I think everybody is missing. I think that's a really great thing for those that are listening or watching to this. Say that again.
Okay. So our quizzes allow you to determine who in your audience is your best client within 180 seconds.
Wow. And can you give some examples how you've used some of your quiz stuff with your clients, or that clients have used it in some of their success stories?
Yeah, so one of our clients is a big paid speaker. He spoke in a room of 70 people. 61 people took it. 48 people identified as high commitment, and 15 people scheduled an appointment in the room that day. And then his team followed up the following Monday and with the other 33 high commitment people and scheduled more appointments. So the whole point of it is income producing activities. The more sales is a numbers game. So the more income producing activities and conversations you have, the more you're going to generate more revenue.
That's such good stuff. I'm seeing one of our fellow Mass Media members on here, David out here might be a good time to talk with Juliet at some point after the podcast. I think it might help you with your audience. David has a podcast that works with people that are transitioning out of a job force as entrepreneurs. A little bit more seasoning. I don't say older, because I think older is incorrect to say the word, but people that are transitioning out of the job force and be entrepreneurs and coaches, things like that, might be a good conversation just to have between the two of you. But
yeah, I'll give you another example. Yesterday, I spoke on something just like this, where I spoke to a group of 16 women, and 12 out of them took the quiz, and I have 10 appointments over the next 2 days with those women.
That's phenomenal. That's 88% there. Wow. Yeah. That's really good. That is really good. So let's talk about, what do you need help with on your podcast? What's some of the things that you're looking for more help on, or help with things? What can we do? What do you need help with? Let's talk about that.
So I would say more audience building, and I have to be really transparent. I'm a marketing person, and I've put no effort into building my audience. I have about 1,200 down. Well, is that right?
When did you start your podcast?
I started it in December of 2018. I've just recently, I totally forgot to ask people to subscribe. I've just started asking them to subscribe and review. I'm getting it out there more on LinkedIn, thanks to you. But I just need help growing that audience and getting the word out about, all the fabulous people I connect with that I know that can really help others in the audience.
How many episodes are you filming or releasing episodes on a monthly basis? Is it once a week, once a month, once every 2 days? What?
It's once a week. I am not as ambitious as you.
Okay. Once a week is great.
Yeah, no, once a week, and I'm very consistent. Actually, right now we are actually recorded through May of this year. So I'm awesome. Way ahead too.
Now, are you using Zoom to record those and using video, or just all audio?
So we use Zoom. So I use Podetize so that I have a YouTube channel, which I'm working a little bit more on juicing that this year. I have the audio, I have the blog. I actually post the blog through social media, but I have started posting the blog as an article every Monday morning. And since Scott has had me on my LinkedIn tour, This week we actually got 91 views, and that's the most we've had because it seems to rank higher. LinkedIn ranks me higher when it's an article. So we put the blog in as an article.
That's awesome. So put it as an article, you're getting views to that article, that 91 views on the article. Is that the views on article or is that downloads?
No, it's views on articles. So, but think of this though. We have the view, we have the little blurb at the top and then the link. So those 91 people are going to my website to read it.
Nice. Now, are you putting the link to the article back into your YouTube description?
No.
On your YouTube description, do you have a link just to your website or to the podcast?
No.
Okay. So there's a tip for everybody. In your YouTube description, and you can actually set this up in YouTube with your set so that it automatically puts stuff into your YouTube descriptions. Like the first thing that we do is we'll say, hey, for more info, go to weclosenotes.com. That automatically gets uploaded when we upload a video. And then we also put, for more info, text notes to 72,000. So if you put the whole HTTP, you put the full website, it pops up as a hyperlink when people are watching videos. So it's an easy way for people to click on over while they're watching on YouTube.
That's incredible. In fact, since you had me put this text across, I think I am getting some views on YouTube because I seem to have these random people texting that I have no idea where they're coming from.
It's got to be coming from YouTube then. Now, are you sharing the video on YouTube, but are you maybe rebroadcasting it and doing a Facebook Live or doing it on Facebook Live? Or I know you're not doing it live as you're recording, but have you thought about as the episode gets released, going back and restreaming it to Facebook Live or uploading it as a video that day?
I hadn't thought about that. I just talked to Hani Mora this week. I'm thinking about doing some teasers before we post though, and taking pieces out of it to repurpose and putting those out the week before a couple times that episode releases. So something for the future.
There you go. There's a cool thing that you can use with a thing called Restream. Like what I do, I used to do a lot of Facebook Lives and then I would upload the video to YouTube. But what I do now is because the internet's kind of different in my office than it used to be. So I just record via Zoom and then I'll go back and then upload the video to YouTube separately, or I can go into restream.io and then upload the video and then schedule it so it goes live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Periscope, all at the same time.
Oh wow! Oh, wow! I didn't even know Periscope was a thing. Still
around. It's still around. Still around. But that's a way to release it. I see hits from that stuff as well too. And when LinkedIn Live finally approves me, I can have it go live on LinkedIn too. So
right. That's what I'm thinking with Hani Mora's tool is it'll allow me to put some teasers over there since I'm not live there yet either.
Yep. Are you looking for sponsors for your podcast?
I don't think I have enough downloads at this point to get sponsors.
So, well, how many downloads do you have?
I think we're running about 1,000 a month.
Okay, so you've got 4,000. I would go, and this is a tip for everybody here. I just discovered this about a month ago. It's a website called Podcorn, not pod porn, but like popcorn, but with a pod. Okay. Found out that if you go on there and register on there, they'll kind of, and you want to kind of talk about your show and things, they'll prompt you with potential sponsors.
Oh, wow.
Like I got 3 sponsors in the last 2 days that I've had stuff going out that I think I'm gonna get approved for, and have them come on for just 2 to 4 episodes, or we're looking for longer term sponsorships with them. So it's just pop. They're like, hey, there's 2 of these people or 2 of these products are looking for sponsors. We think they'd be a fit for your show. And 2 of the ones they just sent to me, I've been a client of before. I was like, I didn't think about them.
Wow. So do you, let's talk about that. I wouldn't even know what would be appropriate for my audience size to charge.
Well, they have specific things. They give you some budgets to work with.
Okay.
So one of the things you can go on there and they'll say any from like $500 to $5,000, depending on how long you're doing and downloads and things like that. So I'm a bigger fan of flat fee. I would leverage what you're getting as far as across your YouTube videos, views as well too. And then your metrics for as far as your number of followers and subscribers in those different, LinkedIn, Facebook, how big your audience is there to help drive it. A lot of them, a lot of people want to go to the cost per thousand, and $18 per thousand downloads or something like that. But I would try to do a flat fee, which is what we've had the most success with. I would think that, there'd probably be a couple things on there that would fall in line with your show. And they're adding sponsors all the time. Some didn't fit my show, but others are just, hey, they're looking for places to add. So there's even some podcasts looking at some big podcasts looking to just get shout outs on other shows too as a way of sponsorship.
Are they so you said they look at social media following, because I have between my two almost 10,000.
Yeah, I put that in your they ask you to go and submit a proposal and then go from there. So
okay. So
that's something good for everybody out there. So we got a question from Sean. Sean asked the question, what are your most successful social media channels and why? Juliet, I think
he's asking me.
I believe so, yeah.
LinkedIn and Facebook. Facebook because Facebook because my audience is authors, coaches, and speakers, and I connect with people all the time. LinkedIn because what I have that assessment marketing is a real business tool, so that's why I connect over there.
Awesome, good stuff there. And what's been a success that you've had in the last 30 days? Any big successes that you like?
Yes. So I get to plug Scott in the mastermind here for those of you who are not.
I'm not paying her, I promise.
No, he's my new sponsor. Scott had me start using a LinkedIn program to get more podcast interviews, not for my people, but to be on other ones. And I've been using it, since the second week of January. And I got 9 guest spots last month, and I have 7 books so far this month. And it's not just those, some of it's speaking, because people are seeing me and they're reaching out to ask me to speak at events. So
that's awesome.
I know. See, you earned your $97 plus.
There you go. Exactly. Now the tool that she's referring to is Octopus CRM, which you can go in and do like a search. It's what is it per month? It's not too expensive.
I did month to month because I wasn't sure of your expertise, so it's $10.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's ridiculously cheap, but it allows for what it wants you to do is we'll go to your LinkedIn, do a search. Like I type in real estate investors or note investors or real estate podcasts is one of the things that I've done. You can have it look for up to 1,000 at a time. It'll convert it over to its CRM, and then you can set it to automatically. Basically, about 100 people a day reach out. And it'll pull first name, last name, do a whole mail merge off of LinkedIn and send invites to those people. And that's one of the things that we worked with Julia. And I was like, okay, let's narrow it down a little. Hey, I think I'd be a great fit. Or you know word for word what your thing says, right, Julia? What's your thing say?
Oh, I don't even know. My video just talks a little bit about my podcast, my Quiz to Qualify platform. And then I think the blurb we put on it says something about I'm looking for good podcast guests, and I'm looking to be a guest on there. And that was one thing I forgot to say is also in that time period, my followers have increased by about 15%. And somebody, not everybody reaches out, but I probably have a dozen new conversations a day on LinkedIn now where I'm going back and forth, and they're not salesy. Right. They're just, hey, what are you up to? What are you up to? And I actually met someone a couple of weeks ago that I referred a new client to because somebody came and said, I'm looking for this. And I was like, I know your girl. Perfect.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy thing to do. Pretty inexpensive, but it's a great tool. If your ideal listener or clients on LinkedIn, it's a great way. I've used it to book people into classes. I've used it to book myself on podcasts and vice versa. And I'm glad to see you're having success. You're getting booked to speak at other places, which is awesome. We've got a big ding with that there for you. So, good stuff. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to kick you back into attendee mode. Proud of you. Any other final tips of advice you want to give out to anybody, Juliet?
No, thank you. Just use Scott. Join the mastermind.
There you go. I appreciate that. Good
Next
stuff.
month's free, right? No.
Actually, I think you've got a referral coming from the tickets from Mass Media, so it may very well be. So hang on.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
There you go. All right, cool. I'll do that. All right. So let's see, Brett. I think you were ready to come on next. Is that correct? I believe Brett Swartz. Give me a second here. All right, cool. And Brett should be rejoining us here shortly. There we go. There he is. Brett, can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go. We can hear you too. Awesome, man. So happy Wednesday, bud.
Hey, happy Wednesday.
Yeah. So why don't you share with everybody about your podcast and what it is, what you're talking about, and how it lines in with what you're doing on a day in, day out basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll do a little plug for StoryBrand. If you haven't checked that out yet, it's a great way to do what's called a one-liner. So I'll do my one-liner. So most commercial real estate owners or business owners, highly appreciated owners, they struggle with capital gains tax. When they go to sell their highly appreciated property, we use a deferred sales trust, which is kind of like a 1031 exchange. If you're in your listeners know about that, anyone on the call, to give them tax deferral, liquidity, diversification. Basically, they can save a bunch of tax. Instead of paying it to the government, it's gone forever. They can keep it in their families and live off the passive income stream, whatever they really want with it, as long as it's an investment purpose. And so the podcast is educational platform, in that we're going to bring on guests who are in the real estate world, who are business brokers, financial advisors, and we're going to speak on, in particular, capital gains tax deferral. I feel that's really the niche that's not being served, and it's like the best way to save from your largest expense that's ever going to happen for somebody. But if you don't know about it and you don't do it in time, then you lose out on it. So that's our whole goal, is just to spread the information about this and inspire people and really show them that they can do it, and they can bring their CPAs in and they can do it, right? Because it's kind of like a little bit like the boogeyman, like, oh, if I'm going to defer tax, like this must be illegal, or this must be this or that. And we just kind of dissolve all of that and just simply walk through how these things work and inspire people to save a bunch of money.
Awesome. And let's talk about your podcast. What's the name of it and how long you had it for, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so the podcast is called Capital Gains Tax Solutions Podcast. So it's the same thing as the name of the company. So about 7 months ago, I went on Kevin Bupp's podcast for the first time as a guest speaker. And then just saw the world, it's kind of open up for me as far as nationally. Been on about 25 now. Some of the top ones, Joe Fairless, Rod Cleef. I'll be on Scott's tomorrow. I'm really excited about that. And so about 3 months ago, I said, okay, now I got to launch my own. This is really neat. I really enjoy it. It's so much fun. And so now I've recorded 22 episodes. And with Scott's advice, I hired the Podetize team to help me launch and all of that, all the strategy, all of the artwork, the song. I just got my song approved. I'm so excited. My pre-intro and outro song. And so we're hoping for maybe I'd say 2 weeks. We're going to launch those 5 episodes, and by then I'll probably have 30 episodes in the bank, which is right on target what I've been looking for. And here we go.
Awesome. What's your biggest need? What's your biggest thing that you're with your podcast?
So you mean as far as moving the show forward, right?
Moving the show forward. What you mean? You're using it as a direct marketing tool for what you're doing, which is great. We see a lot in the real estate side. But are you looking to get more booked on more podcasts? Are you looking to monetize, bring in some sponsors, or what are you looking for, Brett?
So the elephant one bite at a time, right? So First bite is just to get it launched and really just focus on amazing content, amazing guests, and really establishing relationship with the listeners. That's the goal. I've also hired or jumped into Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, and I'm like, my mind's blown there too. With not only, I thought I was a good salesman. All of a sudden I'm like, wow, maybe I'm not such a good salesman anymore, right? Well, just so much to learn, right? That's just the cool part, and the new ways of helping people to be educated in whatever you're talking about. So so that's a big domino, and this is the other big domino. But then fast forward, let's just say 6 months from now, sure, if it naturally comes, the goal has never been to be on a podcast just to get paid. But if it happens to work with sponsors or happens to work with other people, my goal is really just to be able to connect with people that I otherwise wouldn't be able to connect with. Like yesterday, I had a gentleman on. He was a Tony Robbins top 5 for 5 years, elite coach for Tony Robbins and his team. And he's done 25,000 hours of coaching. And I spent like 30 minutes with him. And I'm just like, I would never had a chance to connect with you if I hadn't had my own podcast. And what's cool is obviously we're going to spread his message too, right? But I got a free coaching session in that sense. But I told him, hey, in 3 months, I said, call me. I'm probably going to hire you because I can't do right now, but I love everything you're about. And this guy was in Vancouver, British Columbia. And so that's the best part. So if I can just be on more people's shows and people can be on my show and I can make connections, I feel like it's like the world is our oyster now as podcasters, right? Because it just opens up so much. And I just love that. I've always been a people person. I love getting along with people, working on teams. And it's just so exciting. So I'm still in this brand new stage of this thing and I'm loving it.
Good. Here's the thing we should spend some time on. And it's the similar thing, getting booked on more podcasts drives listeners to your podcast. It drives clients in because a lot of people deal with the need for the 1031 exchanges or with what you're avoiding capital gains taxes too. Mm-hmm. So similar thing. If you go to, and let me pull this up. I'm going to share my screen with you guys here. So, because it's kind of something easy to do. Let's see, here we go. Share it. And I think I got LinkedIn here. Okay. So if we go to LinkedIn, an easy strategy, you see LinkedIn okay there, Brett? Everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I just go up here, if you type in like real estate, or we'll just here's a simple thing. Type in podcast host. This is the thing that works for everybody. Podcast hosts. It should pull up a bunch of people that are so 78,000 podcast hosts.
Wow. Let's
type in hosts because it's probably going to be even bigger. 81,000. Okay. For podcast hosts there. Well, what I like to do is then type in your niche. So like yours would be real estate and type that in there. And that pops up 4,399 results. Okay. Now, the beautiful thing is I've connected, but you can also filter it by connections that you don't know already. So you go seconds here and apply that. And then it drops it down to 1,565 that I'm not connected to already. And so that makes for a great way as kind of your ideal to reach out to people, to send a connection, an invite to talk with people. Hey, I'd love to have you on my podcast, or hey, are you looking for somebody to discuss this? And honestly, I don't think there's too many people in your niche of niches sharing what they got going on, right, Brett?
Correct. Exactly right.
So I think that would be a great strategy for you, and it wouldn't take too difficult to do to set that up and add 2 shows a month or 2 shows a week that you're guesting on and getting the message out across the platform.
The octopus, that just blew my mind what you guys were just talking about. So
yeah.
Does Octopus do that? I mean,
yeah.
maybe walk
so
through that.
I'll pull up Octopus right here. So I got Octopus up and running here. So it's literally already connected. Like I'm doing a thing out to real estate investors right now, but let me go back here and let me just change this. I've got it already pre-pulled up here. So podcast host real estate. Okay. Doesn't show me any profiles because I haven't had to do a search yet. So let me go here, go over where I was just at. Okay. So I'm here. I'm just going to go up and hit my little icon here for Octopus. Octopus is going to pop up here in just a second. Can you guys see the pop-up screen?
Yeah.
How many profiles is okay? Podcast host, results. How many profiles to send to the CRM for Octopus? I'm going to say 1,000. I'm going to send to CRM. So it's going to transfer those LinkedIn profile.
All these people on the 1,500, you're taking 1,000 of them.
Taking 1,000 of them, yeah. Okay. Takes a second or two.
Sure.
And you can do like I've got 18,000 connections, so it allows me about 150, 160 connections per day. So like an hour a day, I come in and just hit start it, and it goes out and sends the connections while I'm doing other things in the background. And this helps me get booked on. This has helped Julia get booked on some other podcasts and other people that we've shared this with as well. So
now, one strategy is you connect first and then send a message, or I guess in this scenario, yeah.
You have a higher hit rate sending a message at the same time you send a connect. Okay. And so one of the things that I've done, and Juliet talked about this briefly, is I pre-recorded like a 1-minute pitch video talking about my podcast and what I talk about as a way to say, hey, here's, because you only have so much limited space with your LinkedIn message. Okay, so it's got 1,000 there. Thank you. So I click down here and hit the CRM. Okay. So, all right. It says out of the 1,841, 46 have already been in one of my campaigns. and 67 have already clicked on the thing. So I have now these people in here. So I go over here and hit hello, first name. So it personalizes the invite. I'm a fellow, just say real estate podcaster. Was wanting to see if you might be interested in having me on as a guest. And distress notes.
Wait, you missed real estate podcast or
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't want you to send it now yet.
No, but I'll show you. It's how I'm a fellow real estate podcaster who's wanting to see if you might be interested in having me on as a guest expert.
Yeah.
As a guest expert, stress, and or doing an episode swap.
Episode swap. Okay, I like that language. Yeah.
And then I have my video on YouTube that I recorded as basically I call it my podcast pitch. They recorded, made it private, so people that are just go to my YouTube channel can't see it. But this allows me to add a little extra information to people so they can watch the video.
Yeah.
And let's see here. We just do podcast pitch for my videos. Oops. Where is it? I got too much podcast pitching now. Because I got all these things that we've done here. Let me go down here. Actually, let me just go to my videos. Actually, I've got it over on Vimeo. It would be easier to pull. But I just take the URL from the video that I uploaded in here. Oh, come on.
Yes.
Put it in there.
To the file. Or to
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah. Okay. View all. Oh, come on. But this makes it so simple to do. And here we go. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Here's a search. We'll say pitch. There we go. I don't make this video long. I make it short. So this is like a right at 2-minute video here. So I copy that in there.
Yeah.
I'll go back over to LinkedIn here.
Can you put that in the Zoom so I can watch that video? That'd be get some inspiration there.
Yeah, here's a short video with a little bit more info. Now you never want to fill it out all the way down. I always like to leave a little bit of under, so that if their name's longer, it doesn't cut anything. So I like to leave 14 or so characters for first name. And now, since I got that in there, I'll just go up here and say, hey, let's connect with 50 and hit launch. And it will go out and send it 50 invites in that email customized for each person there.
My mind is just blown. I've been having my virtual assistant do this manually. And so.
Well, that's how I started. I mean, I totally started with a VA that would go in there, log into my LinkedIn account, and she would do it. She lives in Orlando, would go back and do it I tell her to do 20 a day, and we would get like a 40% hit rate on it. And so now it's, send out one to Nick Good. It'll send out another one here in a second. So automatically does that.
These octopus people are smart. Yeah.
Aren't they?
Wow.
There we go. Send out 2. And it's just in the background there. So, yeah. And it'll do it.
Wow. Can you share that video? I'd love to see your video in the chat. Maybe you already put it in there.
I'll just put it in the chat roll here. Paste it in there.
Because that'd be cool to see your Vimeo video to get a little inspiration. Maybe make it like
it's just me talking. It's just hey, I'm Scott Carson, the note guy, and
a little bit of inspiration.
Yeah, I mean it's simple. Just talking about what you do. It's a different background than what I have because I used it in my old office. But I swear that video would get anytime somebody watched the video, I would like 80% hit rate where they would book me or schedule me. So it made it really easy. So.
That's cool. By the way, your background too is cool. Where'd you get all that art or those billboards?
These are big stickers from Sticker Mule. It's an internal sticker, stickermule.com, and that's one of the great things, guys. If you have guests or you have followers, people love stickers. So the number one thing that people grab from me when I go to trade shows or go to conferences is they love the stickers or even the pop sockets. So, you know, you can buy them 50 at a time or 100 at a time, different sizes. You can customize swag bags for members or other. So, yeah. So stickermule.com. Actually, I think I'll post a link to those that attend here. I think you get 10% off or something like that. I'll send a link over to you guys on your order. So, but there you go. That was save your assistant right there. Have her doing other things for you automatically.
That's a virtual assistant job right there. You just did for $10 a month. And more than that. I mean, that's like 3 or 4 or 5. I can't even imagine. I don't even want to do the math here, but that's amazing. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Anybody else got questions for Brett before you let him go and bring on the next hot seat victim? We look forward to your growth, man. You're doing a great job. You also talked on the Petcha Pod Pitch. Did you get any feedback from your session from there?
Not that I'm aware of it comes to mind. Nothing that was particular set to that, but I imagine that all of it helps a little bit, right? So I'm just so glad I found you. I found the Podicize team and all of the above. Like this is great. Just
make sure
grateful to.
No problem. Make sure if you got updates, share them in the Facebook group that we created for the podcast hosts.
Okay.
Share it in there and latest episodes, stuff like there. So good stuff, Brett. Keep up the good work, buddy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to change it back to an attendee. All right, who would like to jump on here next? Let's see here. Post your Podicize blogs as articles. Yep. Oh, that's a good one. Yep. That's a good. Post it there too if you want to, Juliet. Yeah, he'll do. Brett. Exactly. I'm sorry. That's what Juliet's saying. Taking the articles from the Podicize, from your transcription, full transcription, because it does a better job of serving as a duplicate piece of content for you. It's a content to your website, which increases your SEO, but it's also, you can use that same article as your full transcription as an article on LinkedIn, and which drives engagement to your LinkedIn profile as well. It also shows what you're doing when people are searching for you as a great way to drive content there, post it to different groups and things like that as well too. So you might, in some cases, depending on how long your article or your episode is, like mine are an average of about 45 minutes. Sometimes you need to slice them down a little bit. But here's another thing too. YouTube gives you 5,000 characters in the description. One of the things that we do once a month, I don't do this on a daily basis, but once a month I have my assistant go in there and take, and she tries to copy the 4,000 plus characters, the first 4,000 of the article, and put it into the description on YouTube. And we've seen an increase in those videos because it boosts the SEO and the searchability on Google and YouTube as well. So who else would like to jump on and talk about their podcast and things that they're working on? Let's see here. You're welcome, Brett. David, Gerald, Randy, Sean. I think Sean, you volunteer. I think you're the third one to volunteer. Is that right? Is that a yes or no? Oh, sorry, I gotta get kids to bed. I understand that, my friend. No problem. Great stuff. Who else would like to come on? Anybody else? Gerald, George, David, Randy? You have a podcast? So do kind of a recap there. There's a couple events that are going on too that you may want to take a look at. If you're in the Texas or local market, not this weekend, but next weekend, next Friday and Saturday in Spring, Texas, is the Spark Christian Podcast Conference. You don't have to have a Christian podcast to be 20, but when I talked, we had Misty Phillips on last Wednesday night, and she was talking, and they've got over 150, get a VIP thing Thursday night, and then some great stuff on Thursday. What base CRM do you use, Scott, to connect to Octopus? It's Octopus is CRM. You don't have to connect Infusionsoft or MailChimp into Octopus. It's got its own CRM. I use Infusionsoft, or Keep is what my main CRM is. Okay. But anyway, going back to events, you have the Spark Christian Podcast, 2 weeks, very inexpensive. If you use the code SC20, you'll knock 20% off. And then, of course, in less than a month, in 3 weeks in Orlando, is the Podfest Multimedia Expo. Now, what Chris Cremosis is doing there in Orlando is he's doing, it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But on the 5th, he's doing a variety of mini summits. There's like a video summit. There's a business summit. There's a comedy summit. There's a sports podcasting summit the day before on the 5th as well there too. So you may want to check that out, because if someone include a ticket to one of those, others, it's an extra charge. Like I signed up extra to go to VidFest because we do a lot of video stuff. So we paid a little bit extra charge to go to that. But for a lot of them, it's included or an extra, it's just an extra bonus with your ticket. So podcast, Multimedia Expo in Orlando. Chris is expecting over 1,000 people this year at the Marriott Worldwide headquarters. So if you're interested in that, go to Podfest Multimedia Expo. I'll post. I think I've got just a general discount ticket. I may not have one for this year around. He's had one last year, and they've just been overwhelmed a little bit. But we got great vendors, great people, great community, and it's one of the events that I like to go to as well. Also, if you're in San Diego and you're interested on the West Coast and you can make it to San Diego, our buddy Steve Olsher with New Media Summit sent me a message. You got a few complimentary scholarships things. You got to pay a $297 seat fee to ensure that you're going to be there, but they refund that back to you when you get there. You can use that to swap it in for some other services. So that's a great place. If you're looking to get booked on other people's podcasts, he usually has a good 40 to 50 people at the events as icons. I know David's a past icon. I'm a past icon. It's been a good event. That's the New Media Summit. Okay. Oh, that would be New Media Summit is the 10th, 11th, and 12th, I believe. Actually, hang on a second, because we've had some people post it in the Facebook group about events that are coming on here. So let's see, Steve just posted this earlier. Here we go. NewMediaSummit.net. They're live streaming the event where you can watch, but it's basically everybody that shows up gets the pitch in front of the different icons. So I've gotten booked there. I've had quite a few people booking. If you're interested, let me know. I can probably get you a ticket to this. So New Media Summit, when's it on here? March 9th, 10th, and 11th. There we go, San Diego. So if you're interested in going to it, if you're on the West Coast, 25 days out. I've been 3 times, and he's got a really good community. Matt Browning's a buddy of mine, been there. He spoke at New Mass Media Summit. Actually, a good chunk of the people that were experts from the Mass Media Podcast Summit are people that I've met at New Media Summit. So these are all the different shows that they feature of icons that are going to be there. And so it gives you some opportunity to check out and connect with people. Okay. David's been twice. Yeah, twice. I've been 3 times. It's in San Diego. I don't remember which hotel exactly again. But anyway, anybody else? Do you want to jump on a hot seat, talk about their podcast, talk about what their biggest needs are? Yes, David, is that you? Okay. Awesome. Let me bring you on here as a panelist. There he is.
Here I am.
There we go. Good to see you, David.
Good to see you too, Scott. Yeah, thanks for inviting me into this group.
Yeah, man.
You'll have to explain to me how it works and what else I need to do besides showing up here Wednesday nights.
Yeah, no problem. We'll send that out a little more in that as well for you. But so share, you've got 2 podcasts you do. So why don't you share that, what your podcast is and kind of how that fits into your major focus?
Sure. So I started Smashing the Plateau in 2014. We have 500 plus episodes out. It is currently a weekly show. Mm-hmm. And the theme of the show is how do you get to the finish line in business and in life, living your values. That's the basic theme. So it's like, how do you, it's really about implementation for people that are entrepreneurs. Ideas are the easy part. The implementation is the hard part. How do you overcome those roadblocks that keep coming at you every single day for years? And it's a great show. And then last year I started going solo, which is a show about how do you make the transition from being, actually, let me put it this way. how do you build your own business following a late career job loss? So if you're a high achieving, well-paid professional and you've done great work, you have been able to support a good lifestyle, and all of a sudden you find out that you are no longer employed and you want to start a business and you want your business to be successful, particularly if you're staying in the same field, you want to figure out how to make money doing what you did for somebody else, but do it for yourself.
Makes a lot of sense there. Is there your avatar? Where are they hanging out at? Where do you see those individuals really spend most of their time at?
I wish I knew the answer to that. I'm like trying to figure out how do I search for these folks? I mean, I've been asking just for guests word of mouth, and I've been getting sort of barely enough of the right kind of guests. Unlike Smashing the Plateau, it's been around for years. I get pitched all the time. I have way more potential good guests than I can handle. Going solo is different. It's a much narrower profile.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also targeting people that may not want to talk about their situation.
Mm-hmm. People have gone through transitions and are
they're in the transition, right? So one of the things that I've learned just from the conversations I've had with folks who have experienced a late career job loss, that whether they've been on the show or haven't been on the show, is that I would say it's typically about 2 years for those people that make the entrepreneurial thing work. It's generally about 2 years before they feel like there's some stability in their life. It's not quick. So it's unlike going for a new job where all of a sudden your income goes from 0 to 100% the minute you walk in the door of your new employer. This is a very slow. It's a slow process. So I'm looking for people that are in that like 0 to 2 year window. I don't know where they hang out, frankly.
So I wonder if you could do, if there's different events, and are there any major conferences that you would kind of identify that might be a good fit? Because one of the things that it's kind of an easy thing to do is you can kind of, you can jump on Facebook and kind of create an audience with basic characteristics. Obviously, I'd say, the age group would be a little bit older. We can do interest, maybe interest in entrepreneurship might be one thing to add in there. One of the things that you can do, I do this while traveling a lot of times, is that if there's a conference going on or a summit that I would probably go to but didn't go to, it's a major one. I'll give you an example. Traffic and Conversion Summit's a big marketing convention taking place in San Diego. Or we could even do this. Here's a funny story. We could even do this for the New Media Summit because you and I both are icons. We know the address of the location, so we could literally go on Instagram and say, hey, we're going to geo-target this location to people within a mile of this hotel or this convention, and target those that have interests in these specific things like podcasting or entrepreneurship. And it'll target people's Instagram or Facebook accounts that we pop up when they're scrolling through for ads, and you can run it for 2 days or 3 days or the day before or the day after. So that's, that would be one thing I would think of.
So with targeted paid ads.
Yeah, very, very, very inexpensive. Like I run it for 3 days, and like $20 is my total budget for the 3 days.
Really?
Yeah. And it'll get like, here's the thing I did during the last NBA season. I ran it because for people to go to NBA games, they usually got a little bit of scratch to go to the expensive thing on that. So what I did is I targeted the Toyota Center for the 2 home games that the Houston Rockets were playing the Golden State Nuggets last year, and said, okay, within a mile of the Toyota Center, people that are interested in the basketball and then also interested in real estate. And I ended up having like 10,000 people over a 3-day period of those 2 games view the impression, and had about 50 people opt into my website from that who want to either learn more about my podcast or took my free book as a way to do that. So there's also, I imagine, do you keep track of like big institutions or big companies when they're laying people off?
No.
That might be something to think about as major companies release or let people off, like, you know, and then using that as a keyword and interest maybe on LinkedIn, you know? You know, like I'll give you an example, like iHeartRadio just laid off a huge amount of their radio stations staff across the country. They're going more syndications from New York and California. So I was talking with some of the other guys. Well, a lot of these guys have great radio personalities. You know, I could jump on LinkedIn, looked in iHeartRadio and do a thing like I just did on LinkedIn. I said, hey, if I was a podcast creator, hey, just connecting with fellow iHeartRadio people. If you know anybody that's lost a job, we're helping them transition and doing their own show or own podcast, or, you know, transferring from on-air personalities to on-pod personalities would be an idea to launch something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And the other thing is the people who have been laid off, especially right after they've been laid off, many of them have not made any change to their LinkedIn profile. They're still going to show up as working for iHeartRadio. So they might very well just receive the message directly.
Are there some big firms out there that handle like the layoffs? I know there's, I mean, if you think about the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney.
Yeah, the outplacement firms do.
Yeah, it's outplacement firms.
But also, you know, this, I didn't think about this. These layoffs are in the news. I could just do a Google search for layoffs and see what shows up.
Yeah, and then also reach out to these outplacement firms that have a podcast to helping people transition. Maybe it's something that it's a free tool, free resource to them with your podcast.
And I could also invite somebody from the outplacement firm to come on as a guest.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Those are some good ideas for increasing the number of good guests for the new show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to answer the question you've asked others, like what's my big objective right now, as I mentioned to you when we spoke yesterday, it's monetization.
Right. And I would think you could maybe even, like we talked about before, figuring out 12 potential sponsors on a monthly basis to be either guest on or, you know, people or companies you identify with that you use on a regular basis with your services and stuff like that. That could be a great intro to sponsor a month of shows, or you know, affiliate stuff that you're on services, because that's an easy thing. I'll give you an example. There's a website called Rentometer that we use quite a bit to pull rent rates in here, and they're they're an 8-man team out of Boston, and we were reaching out to them, and they don't necessarily fit in ideally with what we normally do with our month in, month out sponsorships, but they're setting up an affiliate link because they don't have a high ticket price. It's a smaller thing, like $99 a year for stuff like that. So we set it up with an affiliate where I'm going to get 25% of anybody that signs up on services going forward. So it's an easy thing. So I'm glad to have them as a, I guess you say an affiliate sponsor, that I can mix them into one every couple of my episodes, or do a live read, or plug and play them out with my host for ads. So that's what I would do. I mean, look at, like we talked about yesterday, look at 12 products or 12 services or softwares or other things. I would also jump on Podcorn and take a look too. There, you may be surprised what you find on there as a potential sponsor for either one of your shows. Maybe put in 2 things and go from there. But I would almost think you might be able to, with some of the outplacement services, or even Score. Score might be a great your retired executives, because they do a lot of SBA stuff that you can do. You know Jim Beach from what I would reach out to Jim too. It might be a great guest to come on, or vice versa, have you on his School for Startups. Kind of falls in line with things. Yeah,
we did an episode swap.
Okay.
Just with Smashing the Plateau, but you know, it's been a while, and he doesn't know about going solo. So yeah.
There we go. And then I'd also too jump in the Facebook group that you've been invited to, the Scott Carson podcast host and podcast guests, and post on there. We've got a group of people, not only just entrepreneurs and business owners and stuff like that, might be a fit for guests or vice versa to have you on as they're going through transitions.
Okay. I don't think I got the notice for the Facebook group.
I'll make sure and resend it out to you with the link directly for you, David. Cool.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anytime, man. We'll put you back to attendee, and we'll get rocking and rolling here. All right. So, gotta change roll back to attendee. All right, everybody. So any other questions, comments, concerns out there? I mean, the biggest thing I think one of the best things too that we love about this, love having the mastermind, is just bringing people together and bouncing ideas off of each other and sharing things. So the group that I'm talking to that is open to anybody who's got a podcast is the Scott Carson podcast and podcast guest group. It's a group of people that we've had on our podcast, or I've been on theirs along with some friends. And so I encourage you all to go on there and join it. If you want to, I'll resend the link out to everybody. But it's not the biggest group, 190 some odd members, but it's active, and everybody that's in there is looking for guests or looking to guest. And we had a lot of great research. I just did a great interview with Madison Malloy, who's a comedian out of New York City. And we've got just some really great people that are part of this group. So check it out, connect with people, post what you're focused on. So like David, Brett, make sure you go in there and post what your show is about and what your podcast is about, both of them. I'm glad for you to share a link where they can go and listen to your show or your website. And it's okay to do. If you've got something coming up, like Julie, I think you've got a class you're working on this weekend or the first weekend of March or something like that. Hey, share it. Hey, here's what we're doing. We got a class. You know anybody? Because it's word of mouth referrals, guys. That's one of the biggest things. And the thing that I love the most, really, I get so excited about this, is just how warm the Podfest community is, or podcasting community is. Podfest is great. Podcast movement's great. I think podcast movement's going on right now in LA. But there's some opportunities there across for everybody. Plenty of earballs and eyeballs. And I think we are an opportunity to take advantage of what the next few years holds with podcasting and getting our message out to the audiences. So if there's not any other questions or comments or anything like that, we'll call it an evening. Anybody else got any final thoughts, questions? Let's see here. Got a question from somebody here. Facebook, with a Facebook page. Oh, the Facebook page group, Brett, are you talking about that? Yes. Oh, it's just Scott. Here, let's go back. Let me share. Oh, I don't think I shared it, did I? I stopped sharing. My bad. Scott Carson podcast hosts and guests is exactly what it's called. So ask to join. We'll get you approved. If not, I'll send a link out tomorrow morning to everybody that RSVP'd for this here. So there you are. Brett Swartz accepted your invite. You've had an invite sitting in your inbox. Good stuff there. All right. Well, hey, everybody, we are going to call this an evening, call it a night, right an hour for you guys. Thanks so much to Brett, Juliet, David for jumping on and being in the hot seat, and we're glad to share your information, sharing your wins. And let's do this again next week. Who do I have on next week? Do I have somebody on next week? We may do some more hot seats next. I don't have anybody scheduled yet for next Wednesday night. So we may do some more hot seats and some more marketing. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I've got a list I've put together, 60 ways to promote your event before the event. A list that I've really honed in some of the things that we've done with our virtual summits. Like I was in New Orleans this last week for the virtual summit, Summit Fest Live, a buddy of mine, Mark Wade, put on for the first time. An intimate event, but took away some great stuff, and really liked it. And I worked while I was there, and I put this list. So that's what we'll discuss next Wednesday night. 60 ways to promote your event before it arrives. And I think you'll be surprised and excited about it. I know I am. So anyway, guys, that's all I've got for tonight. This replay will be up on YouTube tomorrow afternoon. And if not, it'll be emailed out to you guys as well, in an email as well. So thank you so much for joining us for these hot seats. Appreciate it all. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye.